This is a download from Rutland Radio.
Hello, and thank you for downloading the Rutland Radio podcast from rutlandradio.co.uk. This is where you can hear the best bits from the last week. It's Rutland Radio at breakfast time. I'm Rob Pisani. Now, if for your regular listener to the show, you'll know that I've recently become a dad. And if you are a parent of young children, you'll know how tough it can be. I'm going to talk about postnatal depression today. And, just the thought of it scares so many people. Is a label a good thing or not? Someone who is standing up and being counted on this and working with the National Childbirth Trust is Stanford mum Sally Buncombe. Now, you've got two children yourself, Sally.
I do, yeah.
How old are they now?
They're very nearly 2 and very nearly 3. So very close age gap, just a year and 12 days between them.
So you got a really young child and then you were pregnant with another. That itself is quite a lot to manage.
It was hard work, being pregnant with under 1 year old, because my first Daisy was only just 3 months old when we found out we were going to have another one. So the pregnancy in itself was exhausting. I had them both in July. So it was, that long hot summer of being really heavily pregnant and looking after a baby. It was hard work.
And how were things in the early days? When you're at hospital, and in the lead up, you get all this attention from a midwife, and there's loads of people looking after you, and then you get the 6 weeks check, and you're on your own after that.
It was interesting. I had 2 very different experiences, and in some ways, my first baby, the early days was harder because motherhood hits you like a ton of bricks when it first happens. You can be as prepared as you like, or you think you can be as prepared as you like, but when it actually happens, it really does hit you. You have a kind of identity crisis, or I did anyway, and so much pressure on mums these days. Things like breastfeeding. You're told breast is best, and I was really keen to breastfeed, but actually it didn't work out for me, so it was really tough. Things like that you're not really prepared for. So with Daisy, that was a massive thing, and that sort of took me to the edge actually the first time round, but I managed to pull that back and I was okay. And then the second time round with my second baby, Ruby, at first I thought everything was going all right because we'd really prepared this time. We knew what it was like having a newborn, and we'd really got prepared because we thought, my goodness, it's going to be really hard work with under two, and it was hard work. But actually, my postnatal depression didn't manifest itself properly until she was about 5 or 6 months old. I wasn't prepared for that.
What is it exactly? A lot of parents of young children get very tired.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a child who's up a lot, who doesn't sleep very well, it's a really quite horrendous thing to deal with in itself.
It is, and actually sleep deprivation, I think, is one of the main reasons why I got postnatal depression. My second child had an undiagnosed medical condition. She had really severe, well, I hate this term because it was the bane of my life for so long, but you could call it colic. They thought it was possibly severe reflux, possibly an intolerance to foods. We never really got to the bottom of it, but it meant she was really unsettled all day and all night pretty much. And the stress of having a baby that was crying that I couldn't settle, mixed with severe sleep deprivation, really was what did it for me. But my understanding of postnatal depression is that it's something that you get as soon as a baby's born, and it's perhaps something you get in hospital and you don't bond with the baby.
Just when the hormones really are all over the place.
Yeah, and they are. And there's this thing called the baby blues. So when actually I started to feel really rough about 5 or 6 months later, the thought that it could be postnatal depression didn't really enter my mind. And the symptoms I associated with postnatal depression weren't the symptoms I was having. So the symptoms I were having were feelings of real anger, real frustration, real stress, and they were manifesting in me being an angry person, and I just thought I was turning into an awful person, an awful mother. Never crossed my mind it was an actual condition. So actually when I did go to the doctor eventually, when things got really bad, and they had to get pretty bad before I took that step, when it was labelled, when he said, no, I think you've got postnatal depression, it's brought on by stress and exhaustion, but it's postnatal depression. Actually that was a turning point for me because it kind of legitimised my feelings around the matter. Giving it a name for me was really powerful. I was able to go back to my family and friends and say, guys, I've got postnatal depression. Things turned around from that. I was really surprised at how positive that step was going to the doctors.
So this was sort of 18 months ago, something like that?
Yes. I went to the doctor and I was given some options. So he said you could either have counselling or medication or a mixture of both. And I thought, well, I'm going to take both because I need to throw everything at this to get me better. So I took away the prescription and I had a phone call to sort of assess me for counselling. It just so happened, really luckily, at that point, Ruby was just starting to improve. So she was starting to sleep for longer. Whatever the condition was, she was starting to grow out of it. And so as she grew out of it, I got better too. So that was really lucky. But I would just advise all women, if you suspect it, go to the doctor and just talk to them. So I got better from there, and then actually I started my own business, which really helped me find a new focus, and I've really sought solace in that, really. Having a focus, and of course I'm trying to raise awareness about postnatal depression, and I'm working with the Pandas Foundation, who help and support families going through all sorts of different perinatal mental health issues. And I'm working with NCT to raise awareness about their Hidden Half campaign, because they've done some research that shows that 42% of women have issues that go by unnoticed. And so there's all these women, just like I was for so long, in limbo, just thinking they're turning into terrible people, when in fact they've got a condition and they need help. And also there's people you can keep in touch with online. So I joined a few Facebook groups. So the Pandas Foundation have an online support group. There's also other like just general mother groups you can join, which are really helpful. There's one called the Mother Load. There's one called the Sleep Thief Victim Support Group, which was really helpful for me when Ruby was just not sleeping at all. And at the 6-week check, I think that it's really important that we're given more information, because if at that 6-week check I was told how postnatal depression could manifest, and it's not just a feeling of sadness, maybe it would have been in the forefront of my mind for later on. I would have sought help sooner then.
Sally Buncombe, thanks for joining us on Rutland Radio today. So in summary, it's about asking for help.
I really think it's about asking for help and realising that postnatal depression has many different symptoms, some you may not have thought of. So just keep informed, realise there is help out there.
Rutland Radio.
It's Rutland Radio at breakfast time. What a nice way to wake up, don't you think? Having the harp on Rutland Radio, and harpist from Stamford, probably the most well-known harpist from Stamford, Ellie Turner, is with me. Would you agree you're the most well-known? There are others, actually.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, I think I've set a bit of a trend with lots of students coming up as well. That's very kind of you to say that I'm the most well-known.
I think you genuinely are, and you're actually representing the UK at the World Harp Congress.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, it's the 13th one, and they happen every 3 years, and this year it's in Hong Kong.
Wow, that's not an easy place to get to then.
No, not so much. But we did Vancouver in 2011 and Sydney in 2014. I'm used to all the travelling, and then it's coming back to Europe, back to Cardiff. Well, I don't suppose we'll be in Europe by then, but Cardiff in 2020.
You never know, do you, the way things are going?
You never know, yeah.
Tell us exactly what happens at the World Harp Congress then. You know, you're flying the flag for us.
Yeah. Oh, it probably sounds really strange to people who aren't in that world, but everyone thinks that there can only be a few harpists in the whole world because it's so unusual. But actually, there are thousands and thousands of us, and we all love getting together. It's just an amazing opportunity to meet people from so many different countries and different cultures, all different kinds of harp, not like just the classical harp, but loads of different harps, and everyone's really friendly. And I suppose it's networking opportunity, but it doesn't feel like that. It feels like genuine friendships are being made all the time.
And you do travel all over the world, don't you, actually, carting one harp or another?
Yes, I do. Although I'm really lucky because I don't have to usually take my harp with me when I go abroad. There's a company called Salvi, an Italian company, and they provide me with harps in different countries. So I'm pretty spoilt in that way, to be honest.
So does the harp arrive before you do, basically?
Yeah.
Wow, that is impressive.
Yeah, I know. It sounds probably a bit more glamorous than it actually is. Quite often there won't be anything else that's provided, but there'll be a very beautiful harp.
Now, you've got a couple of fundraising concerts coming up to help you actually get to the World Harp Congress. Tell us about the Stamford one.
Yeah, the church that I actually attend, which is the United Reformed Church, it's on Star Lane in Stamford. They're really supportive of what I do and sort of sympathetic to my crazy schedule. So they've helped me to put together something really nice for Sunday the 2nd of July. It's going to be a family concert, which means that you genuinely can bring your baby. You can bring your kids, disabled people are very, very welcome. It's just 1 hour long, really, really friendly atmosphere. I suppose a little bit similar to the cosy concerts that I put on in Stamford. And it's going to be a mixture of music, mostly harp with string quartet. And it's very beautiful music, I'd say, very accessible, and something Scottish, and something written by my friend Benjamin Rimmer, who actually was born in Stamford. So a bit of local support would be absolutely wonderful. And you genuinely are welcome to come for free, because even if I didn't make a penny out of it, I'd still have the practice experience of performing the music with the string quartet, and just the thrill of having the local support, which probably sounds a bit daft, but it really is important. And whenever I've done things abroad, usually family and friends have written me like good luck cards and things like that, and I always take them with me. And Yeah, it really makes a massive difference to feel like people are on your side and behind you. So, yes, please do come, even if you can't pay a penny. It's not a problem.
Sunday the 2nd of July, and what time?
It's 3:00 and it won't be more than 1 hour.
Ellie Turner, thanks for joining us on Rutland Radio. Thank you for bringing one of your beautiful harps to us again.
Oh, thank you
and,
for having
and for
me.
playing for us today. And, well, good luck with that, and also the World Harp Congress. May you fly the Stamford flag.
Thank you, I will do.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio podcast.
So I'm with Tabby, who is a local singer, and you're only 14 and you've auditioned for The Voice Kids. So how was that?
Nerve-wracking, first of all, yeah. It was a massive experience. It was just really insane, like the stage and everything. It's so cool, like having an opportunity like that and like being able to do something that big is just really fun.
Were you nervous at all?
I was quite nervous, but once I actually got out onto the stage and started singing, I think I sort of calmed down a bit and got like into my own zone and sort of just chilled out.
What was it like standing in front of the judges? It's the back of their chairs, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because they spin if they like you. But even though you can't see the judges, how was it up there?
You don't really clock that they're like actually there until like the very end. And then it's just like, oh wow, it's actually happening, you know. It's quite weird knowing that you're singing in front of 3 like massively quite famous people. And it's really cool letting them like hear you.
Yeah, there's big names. We've got Pixie Lott, will.i.am, and is it Danny Jones from McFly?
Yeah.
So who are you wanting to impress the most?
I don't know really. I loved will.i.am because he was like from America and everything, and since like that's like my background, I really loved it. And I thought like, oh yeah, I've been listening to like Black Eyed Peas since I was like little and everything. And then Pixie Lott's like singing style's like a lot like mine, and she's quite like light and bubbly, quite like me and everything. And Danny Jones from McFly is just like an amazing like guitarist, and they're all so different in their like areas that they perform in and the genres they sing, that I don't know, I didn't really want to impress like one more than any of the others. It was just all about doing such a great job up on stage.
So can you tell me a bit more about your background? So are you from America?
Yes, I was born there in Lexington, Kentucky, and I lived there for 9 years in total, back and forth from England to America.
Have you always had an English accent?
Yeah, well, at school I'd speak to my friends in my American accent, and then when I came home I'd speak to my parents like this, because like both my parents are English, so I don't know. And then my friends would come round after school and things, and they'd hear me speaking to my parents, and they'd be like, whoa, your voice has completely changed and everything, and it was just blew their mind.
It's like a dual identity
Yeah.
thing going on.
Yeah.
So how long have you been singing for?
As long as I can remember, really. Like,
Just something that you've just loved doing
yeah,
all
I've just
your
loved
life,
doing it all my life,
and
really.
something you
Yeah,
want to pursue.
definitely, yeah.
And back to your audition then. Were you happy with how it went?
Yes, I was quite happy with how it went, yeah.
Good. And we'll be able to see you on the 1st of July, is it? On the telly?
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Lovely. Looking forward to seeing you.
Yeah,
Thanks, Tabby.
thank you.
Rutland Radio.
It's Rutland Radio at breakfast time. Not that I want to open a can of worms at all, but are you a cat lover or a dog lover? Do you have both, maybe? Quite a small amount of people do in the country. Tell us more about some new research on looking after your pet. And we have Michaela Strachan, who you'll no doubt know from Spring Watch and all sorts of programmes to do with animals on the TV. Michaela, which do you have?
I've got both. I'm one of those few people with both. I've got a dog and I've got a cat. So I've got a dog. We've only had her for about 8-9 months. We had a dog before that, but this is a new puppy, and she's a rescue puppy, so she's a mixed breed. And we've got a cat that decided to live with us. So it actually lived in a house down the road, and it kept appearing at our house, sort of meowing and looking gorgeous. And eventually the owner said, would you mind taking it on, because it doesn't seem to want to live with us anymore? So we've got both, But then I am definitely a dog person because my cat is quite manipulative, very independent,
Yes.
only comes to me for food, is a real taker, whereas my dog gives me so much back in return for what I give it.
See, I find cats really intriguing. I've grown up with cats. I've been in houses with dogs before. And, I can see why people like dogs. But I think cats, let them out, do their own thing, come back. They give you affection when they want to give you affection. And it's a bit of a challenge.
I admire cats. I've got a huge amount of admiration for a cat because it just gets on with its life, whereas a dog is much more needy. So you're right, you can really admire a cat, but I think they're quite selfish, aren't they, cats?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Whereas dogs, as I say, there's so many benefits from having a dog. I mean, having to take a dog out for a walk, that's a huge benefit, actually. It makes you go out, it makes you do exercise, you meet a lot of people, it helps with loneliness, it can help with depression, anxiety, all those things. There are so many benefits from having a dog. Having said that, it is very important as well to say that a lot of people don't have the sort of lifestyles that can have a dog. So that's why a lot of people have cats, because it's obviously a lot easier to have a cat. You just have a cat flapping in and out it goes. You just have to feed it twice a day, whereas a dog is a lot more high maintenance.
And I know cats actually can help as well with our mental health and sort of calming us down. And, there is that sort of relationship as well, I should mention.
Well, I don't know if have you seen that film recently called A Street Cat Named Bob?
I have. I love that film. And wasn't it great that they actually got the original Bob cat to play Bob?
Are you serious? I didn't know that.
That's absolutely true. It
No
really is the
way.
proper cat. Yeah.
Oh, my word. For your listeners that don't know, this is a great story, isn't it, about a homeless guy that he was a drug addict and he was given then a council flat and he was trying to get back onto the ladder of life. And he was selling the Big Issue and a cat befriended him, sat on his shoulder, got the bus with him to Covent Garden, I think, and he sold loads of Big Issues because he had a cat on his shoulder. And then he was given a publishing deal and then they made a film out of him. I mean, talk about the benefits of owning a cat.
I know, it is absolutely amazing. But yeah, they tried different cats, but they just couldn't get one that would actually do what Bob would do. So they actually used the original cat.
That's remarkable.
It is wonderful, isn't it? Now, Michaela, we last saw you at the Osprey project at Rutland Water at Linden when I doorstepped you for a bit of a chat.
I love that project.
Are you
I
coming
love
back to
Osprey.
Rutland Water soon?
No plans, but we often feature Osprey on any of the watches. Spring Watch, obviously Spring Watch is the more likely one, but they're just such awesome birds, aren't they? And obviously Rutland Water has been an amazing place for Osprey over the years.
And obviously Spring Watch is over for another year with you and Chris. I've got this image now that your dogs are backstage with you. Because
funny
he's got
enough,
dogs as well, hasn't he?
My dog wasn't, but Chris's dog for the first 2 weeks was with us because he's got a little poodle. And it was quite sweet. We used to be in meetings and the poodle would sit on his lap with a little saucer of sausages and we'd be, having a sensible conversation about Spring Watch and this poodle would be nibbling the sausages. So, yeah, he was on site with us. And I think it's fantastic when you can have your dog with you at work. And why not?
And are you surprised by the huge success of those sort of programmes? Because actually it's really simple telly, isn't it?
You may think that.
No, but you know what I mean? It basically, you're watching nature unfold. I know obviously you can't watch it all in real time because no one will watch that, would they? But
Well, technically, it's a very complex show because we've got the cameras on nests, and that's a complex thing. The technical side of it is huge, and the expertise, actually, of putting those cameras in nests is amazing. There are very few people, I reckon, in the country that have as much experience as the guys that work on the watches do. But I think that it's so popular because it's animals that people are familiar with. Most people that watch the Spring Watch, Autumn Watch, Winter Watch are animal lovers, wildlife lovers, and they probably watch all sorts of wildlife programmes. But when you're watching a wildlife programme about white rhino in South Africa and the fact that they're all being poached, you feel terrible about it, but there's not much you feel you can do about it. Whereas you watch our programme and we tell people to do something like make a hole in your fence for hedgehogs to be able to go through to make hedgehog corridors. And it's a very simple thing and people can do it and they feel empowered. And I think people that love wildlife want to feel empowered, and I think that's partly why it's so successful.
no, absolutely agree. I think it's absolutely wonderful stuff, and it's a gripping serial that unfolds, isn't it?
I think also this year people have really enjoyed it because there's been so much stuff on the news that's negative, including the election, and it was a real nice contrast for people during the whole election and everything else that's been going on, for people to sit down for an hour and just revel in the beauty of wildlife has been a great antidote for people.
Michaela Strachan, well, I hope to see you back in Rutland, near the water somewhere soon, maybe bird fair time at some year in the future.
Thanks, Rob.
Rutland Radio's best bits on the podcast.
Yeah, after taking the right precautions, I went off to West Africa, to Senegal, and was prescribed a course of pills to take to start before I went and take them while I was there and carry on for 8 days after I was back, and stupidly stopped after 2 days in the UK. And in the end, I'd picked something up, and it turned out to be something that resulted in me losing 80% of the hearing in my right ear.
Crikey, that's incredible.
But it happens a lot, evidently. If you get a fever, kids get fevers when they get measles, which is one of the side effects that perhaps we overlook with that. You might say I got off lightly. People die from getting, malaria. And I lost hearing in my right ear.
So were you particularly nervous signing up to go into the jungle then for that reason?
Well, it certainly was one of the questions I wanted to ask, but there is no malaria there at all.
And how were things in the jungle for you? We had Joel Dommett on the show. He came to Stamford to do some stand-up, actually, very recently. And he said he loves popping round to see you. You're still good friends after the show.
He's a lovely guy. I mean, everybody there got so close. But in terms of insects, most of them, you're eating. That's really it. You're not too worried about the flying ones.
Incredible to watch those who, are used to performing in this sort of environment. People love watching all this kind of stuff to see what people are really like. And you do see people's true colours, don't you?
That's the idea.
You and Carol Vorderman particularly, you were born leaders in the jungle, it seemed.
Well, I think the thing is that we were kind of mum and dad. We were the older ones. You've had more life experience. And fortunately, there wasn't a lot of the sense of people trying to top each other. Everybody slotted into their role. Everybody kind of got on. It was really good. We were lucky.
So where will we see you next, Larry?
Oh, well, you can see me right now. There's a DVD of a film I made last year. It's just come out on the Hatton Garden robbery that happened 2 years ago at Easter, when a bunch of old thieves broke into the vault at Hatton Garden where, millions and millions and millions of pounds worth of jewellery and various valuables are stored. The Hatton Garden job, it's out now.
Rutland Radio.
It's Rutland Radio at breakfast time. I'm Rob Pisani. Lots on as we head towards the weekend. At Stamford Arts Centre on Friday night, you can see Claire Teal and a trio. Now, Claire, you're used to singing with all kinds of different sizes of orchestra and backing, aren't you? I suppose a trio is just a great way to sing the kind of music that you're going to be singing.
Yes, you're right. I work with orchestras and I work with big bands, and the night before we're with our Hollywood Orchestra and the night after I'll be with our big bands. But whatever we do, whatever we're rolling out, whatever new shows we put together, everything comes from the trio. So the trio is like the hotbed of activity. And the musicians who I work with, Jason on piano, Simon Little on bass and Ben Reynolds on drums, they've been working with me for such a long time. And they're like family, so we can kind of sort of know what each other's thinking. And I know for a fact that we're going to throw in quite a few new songs on Friday night. We've only talked about it, we haven't actually played anything.
Oh, well, there's still
but
time.
That's the beauty of it. I know that it'll be fine. They're wonderful. I love working with them.
I was reading about how you got into actually singing, and it was completely by accident because you were taking a clarinet exam and forgot the clarinet. Is that actually true?
It is true. I know it sounds really cliche, doesn't it? But it was true. I maintain that I didn't forget. I didn't know. But it turned out to be this really important exam. It was one of those, if I hadn't have done it, I wouldn't have passed my degree. One of my teachers came up and he said, don't forget your exam in 20 minutes. And I didn't have anything with me. And much as I can sort of torture quite a few instruments, I don't play them very well. Clarinet was my main instrument. And, not having that with me, I thought, oh, my life, what am I going to do? And so I could, play a bit of piano, but I knew that wasn't going to get me through. But thankfully, I had two friends in the music block. I had Andy, who played bass, or he played electric bass, but he commandeered the upright bass in the music block and marked out the frets with pencil. I remember that. And then Weasel, the thrash metal drummer, we got him on brushes.
Right.
And we just put
thrash metal brushes
metal
on that kind of jazzy kind of sound, yeah.
Yeah, and I thought, I'm going to have to sing. And that's what I did. I used to get so scared before clarinet exams, and my hands would turn to ice, and I'd get really clammy. And, even though I thought I was going to die initially singing, it felt like the most natural thing. It felt like falling off a log, and I couldn't believe it.
I always think we're so lucky around here because of the variety of theatres we have. And in Stamford, you've got the Arts Centre, you've got the Corn Exchange. You've got two places where you've got a good chance of seeing some amazing stuff. And we do get some great people, including yourself, coming to Stamford on Friday.
Oh, thank you very much. And it's a lovely place to walk around. I think, I'd always try and get there early because I think the first time we arrived, all the shops had just shut and it was like, no, that's not fair.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we might see you shopping on Friday afternoon then?
Oh, you will, without a doubt, yes.
Claire Teal, thank you very much for joining us on Rutland Radio. We look forward to seeing you in Stamford on Friday night and maybe in town on Friday afternoon.
Absolutely, with bags of shopping. Thanks for your support, love.
The weekly Rutland Radio podcast.
It's Rutland Radio at breakfast time. I'm Rob Pisani. I can't believe Pop Idol was all those years ago when it was Gareth v Will. And Gareth Gates has become a huge West End star since performing very recently in Footloose, actually, in the West End. And he's coming to Stamford Corn Exchange tonight. Thanks very much for joining us, Gareth. Good to have you back on the show. What an amazing career you had after that singing audition led to so much.
You've made me feel very old with that introduction.
I'm sorry about that.
Pop Idol was 15 years ago now, and I've had lots of great highlights over the years, from being a pop star in the charts through to now musical theatre. And I've done some big shows like Les Miserables, Joseph, Legally Blonde, and I'm currently on tour with Footloose, as you said. And yeah, I have a very rare week off from Footloose. So I've decided to do a few gigs, and I'm thrilled to be in Stamford.
Well, thanks very much for coming along and entertaining the crowd at the Corn Exchange tonight. So I guess this is quite a sort of up close, despite the fact that it's, hundreds of people in front of you.
Yeah, it's a very intimate gig. I do quite a few of these intimate ones where it's just me and my guitarist, and we play some of my older hits through to newer songs I've been writing, and also songs that maybe get people on the feet and dancing and singing along.
I guess there's plenty of people in the audience that are singing back your old songs to you. I mean, you were talking about Pop Idol making you feel old, but these songs, like Any One of Us, your big number ones that you had.
Yeah, the old classics come back out of the bag, and Any One of Us, Unchained Melody, Spirit in the Sky, all the hits.
And how is it in Footloose playing Willard? Now, I was in a production actually at local theatre here some years ago, and I played the dumb mechanic. I'm trying to think of his name, Travis, that was him. But Willard was such a great part.
Yeah, Willard's a great part to play. I, as you know, struggle with my speech. That's up and down, my recovery of learning how to gain more control of my speech. But acting is a very different thing for me. It's a real form of release, because once I've learnt the script, put the hours in, and once I adopt a different persona, speech just isn't a problem, and I can get lost in the role and just be somebody else, which is a great feeling.
I bet it is.
And that's why I love acting, but Willard especially is great, because I get to play a comedy role. I get the laughs, and I've never got the laughs before. It turns out I'm quite funny.
Fabulous. Well, we look forward to seeing you in Stamford, and thanks very much for joining us on Rutland Radio today. Just one final thing which people probably don't know about you is your coconut tea empire that you're building.
Perfect, and thank you for mentioning it. It's a nice plug. Yes, I've invented a range of coconut tea called Cuppanut, and it's in all the Holland and Barrett stores just now, and we're expanded. We've just acquired our second major listing with a big store. We can't say who yet.
Gareth Gates, thank you very much for joining us. Lovely to chat to you today.
Thank you for having me, mate.
Rutland Radio.
Yeah, Joy has been heavily involved in producing the show. Vicky and I and a lovely lady called Jemima worked together to put a brand new, unique script, heavily influenced by all of the great Carry On movies. We've got some references that a lot of people will recognise, and we thought we'd do something unusual, have a radio play and let the audience watch the sound effects being made live in the true old-fashioned style.
It's quite unique, isn't it? I've never seen anything quite like this before in Rutland, and it's local as well, isn't it, in terms of the story?
Oh, it is, yeah. We have based it at Oakham Castle, and some of the well-known points around Rutland are heavily referenced as well, so anyone that's local will hear some things that they'll certainly be familiar with.
With the fact that it's a bit carry-on, does that mean it's more adult? Is it just quite cheeky?
It is very cheeky, very tongue-in-cheek. We have used every innuendo that we could come up with between the three of us, and we're hoping that that's going to go down quite well on a Friday evening when it's a bit drizzly outside. Something new, something different, something you've probably never heard or seen before, and hopefully something that really makes you laugh.
My name's Alex Woods and I play Roy Regan.
My name's Luke Cooper and I play John Wicks.
Now, you're the two lead characters in all this. Is it easier, the fact that it's a radio play, in terms of the fact you can bring your script on and and kind of work from there?
Rehearsals are certainly easier, but because it's a radio play but people are watching it, you're in two minds as to what you're supposed to be doing, so it's not always as easy as it would sound.
And how are you finding the characters? Because you're basically you're solving a murder mystery, is that how it
Yes, that's right. I am the sidekick to
me.
Yes.
Yeah, the sort of Bodie and Doyle of the whole
Kind
thing.
of, yes. Not as much hair, obviously, but we are every bit the stereotypical 70s copper, but we end up here in Oakham, where we stick out like a sore thumb.
Well, I was going to say, that's the whole idea, isn't it? The fact that actually, you've come from a big area and little old Rutland isn't kind of ready for you.
Yes, exactly. We've been down in London doing our thing, and then we get sent here. And
we were naughty in our previous employment, and we were sent here to teach us a lesson. And I think during the hour we learned that lesson, don't we?
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio Podcast.
It's Rutland Radio at breakfast time. I'm Rob Pisani. Now, tomorrow, as part of the Oakham Festival, Tallis, Taverner and Tambourines charts the history of church music and its place in history with Andrew Gant, who has got such a pedigree with so many different organisations, actually, that have contributed towards church and choral music around the country. Andrew, thanks very much for coming to Rutland to be part of the Oakham Festival. So why is it really that church music has been endured through all these years then, do you think?
Well, thanks for your introduction, Rob. I'm looking forward to it enormously. I think it's a combination of things. One of the things is that church music at its best is very inclusive. It's something that everybody can do. It's one of the very few things that you really can get people of aged 8 and 80 taking part together. And you do in a parish church choir. You can quite often have little children singing alongside their grandparents and even great-grandparents. That's one of the things about it. It's very sociable. It's a focus for communities. It helps to keep these wonderful old buildings that we have in use. And also, there's something about the English. We just love singing. It's just so much part of our culture in church and out of church. You think about the choral society tradition. You think about singing in football terraces. It's all really part of the same thing.
And you yourself actually have, I presume, been singing since you've been talking, because you've sung with so many different choirs around the world.
Yes, that's right. I didn't actually sing as a choir boy, which of course is a hugely important part of the tradition. I actually came to it a little later as a young adult when I was a student. But yeah, sure, it's been part of my own working life for most of my adult life, and in a number of different ways, which has been a great joy, singing in choirs, conducting choirs, writing music for choirs, writing about choirs, and teaching as well, working with students.
And talking of writing about choirs, you're also doing a book signing at the end of your talk on Saturday.
Yes, that's right. The talk is based around my book, O Sing Unto the Lord, which is a history of English church music, which tries to look at it in the round. So it's not just about the great geniuses and the well-endowed rich places with fancy choirs like St Paul's Cathedral and Westminster Abbey, but it's also about what happened in the parish and indeed outside the church as well. I think we have to remember that a lot of this music was not sung in church. It would be sung in the home or sometimes in the pub or out in the field.
And you yourself actually set Andrew Motion, the Poet Laureate's words to music back in 2002. How amazing.
Yes, that's right. That was a very interesting thing to be asked to do, to celebrate the Golden Jubilee of Her Majesty the Queen at that time, yeah.
Well, we look forward to seeing you in Oakham on Saturday. I know there's still some tickets available. Only £3 to hear the history of church music through everything that you've studied, and also that book signing at the end. Thanks very much for joining us on Rutland Radio and being part of the Oakham Festival as well.
Thank you very much, Rob.
Rutland Radio.
Hello, I'm David Clark, and I'm the chair of the Rutland Food Bank.
Okay, so you're at Tesco today, so what's going on here?
Well, we've got a collection day. We periodically do collections, although all the time we have what we call permanent collection points at, for instance, Tesco's and the Co-op. And today we're here because we're kind of running short of several of the items that we need. And so we asked Tesco whether we could have a collection day, and they kindly allowed us to come. And we've been here since 10 o'clock, and it's going really well. We've had a wonderful response from people.
I've seen outside in the foyer there's loads of food in the trolley, so everyone's getting involved. And why are food banks important in Rutland?
Oh, well, yes, people sort of think, well, Rutland's, we're very well off in Rutland, aren't we? But there are a lot of people who fall into crisis for one reason or another. Something happens and they find they've no money and no food. And through the social workers in Rutland, they point the way of these people towards food bank, and they issue a voucher, and they can come to us and get a supply, 3 days worth of good quality food to help them through crises. If people should miss today, we have these permanent collection points, and those will continue to be open for people to leave their food. And so we're very grateful for everyone today and going forward who may contribute to this important cause.
There's one in Rutland, isn't there, on Melton Road, a food bank there. There's also one in Stamford. Whereabouts are the other ones around the area?
Our Rutland food bank is, as you say, it's in Oakham, and we open 3 days a week on Monday and Wednesday from 1 until 3 for people with vouchers, to come and collect food, and also on Friday from 10 until 12. And we have another place at the parish church in Uppingham. That's the other wing of Rutland Food Bank, and that is also open on Fridays in the morning from 10 until 12.
Rutland Radio's best bits on the podcast.
And something else that's pretty special that's happening today is the Flying Scotsman. It's coming through Stamford, and Rob is live from the station right now. Hello, Rob.
Yes, good morning, Lydia. I mean, what a beautiful occasion this is. It's the first time it's ever stopped in Stamford. I'm here with the youngest train spotter on the platform, on platform 2. What's your name?
Camera.
And how old are you?
5.
And you've got a book in front of you here, all about steam trains. So what's this one called here?
I'm Scotsman.
And have you ever seen it before?
I never trains like an electric.
Yeah, you love all trains.
Yes, I have to say.
So, yes, so you've seen quite a few, but never the Flying Scotsman before?
Yes, but I like Flying Scotsman though.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see here you've got the Mallard on the same page. Now, the Mallard set the fastest speed over at Little Bytham. You didn't know that until I told you, did you?
No, that's mine, I think,
Yeah.
the fastest.
So what do you think the Flying Scotsman's going to look like then when it comes here?
Green like that.
It might be green. I think it's sort of a bit darker than that. So will it be quite noisy, do you think?
I think it'll be quite noisy.
I think it'll be quite noisy as well. Are you really excited?
A little bit.
A little bit, yes. We'll get more excited in the next half hour, I'm sure. Now, the Flying Scotsman is actually making its way through our area. It's actually around Peterborough at the moment. It's going to be at Stamford. It's going to pick up passengers for the first time in years at 9:49 this morning or thereabouts. Now, bear in mind it's a steam train, so it may not be exactly that time. Then shuttling through Oakham and then on to Melton, where it picks up passengers, and then it's literally full steam ahead all the way to York. It is coming back this way later, but we think it's going to be diesel powered. It'll probably make its way through at about 8 o'clock tonight. And more from platform 2 here at Stamford Railway Station between now and 10 o'clock.
Thank you, Rob. I'm looking forward to seeing loads of pictures of it.
I can't wait, really can't.
The weekly Rutland Radio podcast.
Now, Rob Pisani is still at Stamford Station. He's waiting for the Flying Scotsman because it's coming through in about 2 minutes. So, Rob, how's it going over there?
Well, yes, it should be coming through in about 2 minutes' time. Now, we did hear it was 5 minutes late arriving at Peterborough, but the time here on the boards is still 9:49. So literally everyone is getting as close as they can to that yellow line. In fact, the station officials just trying to get people back a little bit further, just to make sure that everyone's safe, because such anticipation that the Flying Scotsman is here today. Now, it has made its way through Oakham before, you might remember, last year. It's doing it again today, but that's the way it's going. Basically, it left King's Cross about 7 o'clock this morning. It stopped at Welwyn Garden City, Peterborough, stopping at Stamford. Now it's shuttling through Oakham just after 10 o'clock, and then stopping at Melton about 20 past 10, and then it's full steam ahead all the way to York. Now, I was speaking to a 5-year-old Tam earlier who was telling me about this. 1923, the Flying Scotsman actually was originally built, and it spent 10 years in the workshop. Of course, was regular on the London to Edinburgh. It used to stop at Stamford back in the day, sort of the early 60s, that sort of time. Retired, I think about 62, 63, and then actually came back into service just a couple of years ago, and this is the first time actually it's been picking up passengers in Stamford, so that'll be happening in the next couple of minutes. It's kind of hard to tell, Lydia, whether we should be playing another song or not. Do you know, we've got 10 seconds to go, in theory. The station officials are here. Everyone's poised. It can't be that far. Now, the other thing is, it's only quite a short platform here at Stamford, and I don't think it's going to actually fit on this whole platform, so we think it's probably going to overshoot it. Now, there's a whole band of photographers who are lined all the way up, actually, behind the station here. This is kind of what the officials have said here at the station. If you want a good picture, actually, to go into the car park where people actually stay here when they obviously commute to London. And there's not that many people actually on the platform, because they've been trying to restrict the crowds here just for safety reasons. But it should be, any moment, making its way towards here.
I tell you what's really nice, though, about steam trains is that smell. You know, when it comes in, when you get the smell of the coal and obviously the steam, it just smells really nice and authentic, I think.
Absolutely. And the noise is unbelievable. You kind of think it's just going to be about the same kind of volume as it is on the telly, but that's never the case, of course. Now, we can hear a rumble here.
How are the passengers
It's going to start
feeling?
recording.
How are the passengers feeling about going on it today? Are they really excited?
Yeah, very excited. You know, it is a rare opportunity to actually get on at Stamford. There are some who actually boarded the train last year on Peterborough. We can actually hear the steam in the background actually now, so it really isn't that far.
I think I can even hear it. I can hear the rumble, and I'm not even there.
Coming in nice and slowly. Trying to video this at the same time as talking to you.
Multitasking.
All hands to the pump, and here we go. You can hear that steam. And of course the whistle. The Flying Scotsman is here in Stamford, stopping at Stamford railway station for the very first time. There it goes, 60103. Got those maroon carriages on that it had last time, National Railway Museum in York. You can see the steam coming out, of course, of the tender just at the front. What an amazing moment. Let's speak to Tam, who we spoke to earlier. What do you think actually seeing it in person? Yeah, is it really big? Tell us what colours it is. It's got a green front, hasn't it? All the maroon coaches. And just having a look back here. It's overshot by 2 carriages, and the rest of it's just disappearing under the station bridge.
Can you see the interior at all, Rob?
I'm just having a quick look, actually. This is the dining car with all the lights and stuff.
Bye-bye.
Hello, we're live on Rutland Radio. Is it possible to have a word with me?
Hello?
Yes, hello. First time actually stopping in Stamford. How wonderful is this?
It's wonderful to see Flying Scotsman in Stamford, and we've got quite a few people join the train today here. So,
Did you know about how many are getting on at Stamford?
About 30 getting on at Stamford, but we had a lot more get on at Peterborough.
And you're shuttling through Oakham, and then at Melton you're going to stop again before full steam ahead at York.
More people getting on at Melton Mowbray. I don't know the numbers, but there's more people getting on at Melton Mowbray.
And how often do you work the service?
I'm the train manager. I'm on the train virtually every time it runs.
Well, thank you very much. Can I take your name as well?
We're going.
Right. Everyone's rushing to get to the platform now just to get that picture.
Very noisy.
It is, isn't
very,
it?
Very noisy.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got the tender, just as I say, about 2 or 3 carriages away, just where the car park is. It's exactly what the station officials said, really, that will be the place to actually stand.
So you've got
And
the perfect spot.
It's heading off.
There's the whistle. Are you waving at them all, Rob?
Yeah, I tell you what, the smiles from all the people on here, just amazing. It's just, you know, the golden age of steam is so definitely back. And off it rumbles. Yeah, people know that they're on a pretty unique experience. I mean, tickets for this, I think they're about £230 return. It's not the cheapest journey, but probably the most historic. Pullman carriage there in the kind of brown and cream. And more maroon carriages. Bye, Rob, that's the in-laws there. I'm lucky enough to have relatives who are actually making their way up to York and back. Do you know, I did have the chance to go on it today, but I thought it's such a momentous occasion. Where I need to be is here on Stamford Railway Station.
Sacrificing your trip, Rob, to take a picture of it for all of us lot.
Well, it is the most amazing thing. Absolutely amazing to see this railway history. I mean, it's not the most reliable steam train in history, but it's just got a special place in so many hearts. And the crowd's just dispersing here at Stamford Railway Station, getting ready for the next Birmingham Stansted train, which will be here in the next few minutes.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Rob.
Yep, no worries at all. If
Thank
you want to
you.
catch the Scotsman's return, then it'll be coming through after 8 o'clock tonight. But I do understand it's diesel powered, so you won't get quite the steamy introduction that we got this morning.
At least we've seen it this morning and heard it.
Yeah, absolutely. As I say, it's on its way to Oakham. It'll be shuttling through about 10:05, and then Melton about 10:20. We had 30 passengers get on here at Stamford, a few more at Melton, then it's full steam ahead all the way to York.
Well, that's it for this week's Rutland Radio podcast. If you have any comments, you can email us via the website, rutlandradio.co.uk, and we'll have a new version on our website from Monday.
This is a download from Rutland Radio. For more information, go to rutlandradio.co.uk. This is a download from Rutland Radio.
Hello, and thank you for downloading the Rutland Radio podcast from rutlandradio.co.uk. This is where you can hear the best bits from the last week.
So I'm David Anderson, Deputy Principal at Uppingham Community College.
And what an amazing day this has been. What an ambitious fundraising target as well. Describe what actually happened today, start with.
Okay, so it's the first time we've held a sponsored walk of this nature. We've got all the students, all the staff and some governors to take part. Walking 10 kilometres through the beautiful Rutland countryside, passing through Linnington, Seaton and Bisbrook, then back to UCC for the finishers village that you can probably hear in the background. We asked the target in terms of fundraising, we asked all the students to try and raise £50. Some of them have already, we know, raised more than that, and as long as they've tried their best, that's all that we can hope for. But we've got a massive target of 50,000 we're hoping to raise from this, but we'll wait and see.
And what will the money be used for?
The plan is it's for new facilities at UCC, so we're looking to build an extra sports hall, an ancillary teaching block, performing arts centre and to help refurbish our science labs.
Rutland Radio.
It's Claire Jarvis, and I'm the school games manager for Leicestershire and Rutland Sport.
And this is just a massive event, isn't it? Over 1,000 children here today. One of two in the year?
Yes, that's correct. This is our summer championships for Leicestershire and Rutland. We also have a spring championships. This event today focuses on primary school age children, 8 to 11-year-olds, and they're taking part in 11 different competitions over 7 sports. We've also got some participation events, so we have a Change for Life festival and a Sportsability event as well as part of the competitions that encourages young people with disabilities to get involved in competitive sport.
And sportsmanship is just as important as actually those who come first in something like this. You know, it's a very high emphasis on that.
Yeah, definitely. We actually give out trophies for the Spirit of the Games values, which honour the Spirit of the Games values, so honesty, determination, respect. And that award is as highly recognised as the winners of each competition today, and there will be an overall trophy for that winner as well.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio Podcast.
My name's Ben Higgins, and I guess I'm well known for being an athlete in the 400 metre hurdles.
First of all, tell us something which I didn't even know about you until today. When you were 10, there was a possibility you could never have ever run again in your life.
Yeah, when I was 10, I fractured the bottom vertebrae of my spine in 2 places, and I was in a wheelchair for just over 6 months, and then doing rehab and stuff after that, and managed to get back into athletics afterwards.
And look at you now. You know, you were going for the World Championships recently.
Yeah, I've been hitting form good recently and been running well, so I never really think about the injury, just get on with it.
And you were so close to going to the World Championships. Yeah. I mean, obviously, if one of those two that actually are selected doesn't make it, you're next because your time was the same. How unfair is that?
I know it is, yeah, but, you know, these things happen in sport and just got to pick yourself back up and come back stronger, I guess.
It's just because you're a year younger than those who are going?
Yeah, I'm a year younger, so hopefully I've got a few years on them and I'll be back.
You were saying about what you've been doing here today and the notoriety that you're gaining. There's all these primary school children looking up to you. How old are you now?
I'm 16.
And how does it feel, actually, that they're the next generation of sports people, really?
It feels quite good. It wasn't too long ago that I was here being their age, so I can relate to them all, and it's good to catch up with them and get talking to them, see what sports they're doing.
So what's next for you, then?
I've got the English Schools Championships next Friday and Saturday, and that's where I was second last year, so I'm hoping to build on that this year and hopefully win and gain another England kit from that.
And whereabouts is that?
That's in Birmingham this year.
Well, good luck, Ben. Thanks for joining us on Rutland Radio.
Thank you.
Rutland Radio.
It's Rutland Radio at breakfast time. I'm Rob Pisani. I've got 4 year 5s here from Stamford Junior School. Can I get your names first off, please?
James, Jack, Abigail, Harriet.
Now, welcome to Rutland Radio. Now, this is my room here. This is your first time in a radio studio ever?
Yes.
How are you finding it? Is it what you imagined it was?
No. Not really.
In what way?
Definitely not. It's more technical.
More buttons and things like that.
Yeah.
You're here because you won Little Genius, the quiz that's held at your school with lots of different primary schools. Let's talk about that night. Did you go into it thinking you were going to possibly win?
No. Yes. No, not really.
You did?
Yes.
It's good to be positive, isn't it? Because if you don't think you're going to win, you're never going to win, are you?
Yeah.
What was your favourite round then back on the night? I think I asked you that at the time.
Maths.
Maths. I think you said that, actually.
I quite liked the observation round. I like the buzzer. I like
the buzzer. Yes, the buzzer was very good. I'm sorry we haven't got a buzzer for you here today. What have you been up to at school? Because you've just had your Mad Week, haven't you? What does that stand for?
Music, art and drama. Yeah.
And what sort of things were you doing then?
Over the week we've decorated classrooms, and then on Thursday we toured our parents around our classrooms and showed them work that we've been doing throughout the week.
Wasn't there something about the 1950s as well that you were...
Yeah. We went for like a vintage theme this year, and each year group had like a different era, and our group had the 1950s.
What sort of things did they used to wear then? I mean, you're here in your school blazers with your ties on.
Well, the boys and men used to wear leather jackets quite often.
So that kind of looked like the Grease film and that sort of thing. What sort of music were people listening to then?
Elvis, Chuck Berry, Ella Fitzgerald.
Yes, absolutely. There's all the big band music, and also rock and roll started, which is kind of what pop music that we hear is based on for today. So you've only got actually a couple of days left, and you break up on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Are you looking forward to summer holidays?
Yeah.
Yes and no.
Oh, right, okay, go on.
I'm going to miss my teacher, which sounds really dumb, but...
No, it doesn't. It doesn't at all. You spend a lot of time with your teacher through the year, don't you?
Yeah. And actually, throughout the year, we probably spend more time with our teachers than our parents.
You probably do. Yeah, let's have your teachers' names then on the radio.
Mrs. Sampson.
Mr. Ellis.
There they are, you see, name checked on Rutland Radio. Thank you very much for coming in today, and well done on winning the competition. So you're going back in Year 6 in September?
Yes.
And whose class will you be in then?
Mrs. Britton's.
Mrs. Britton's.
And Mrs. Morgan's.
Now, I think I'll see you for the pancake race as well, won't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the highlights of Year 6. Thanks for coming into Rutland Radio today.
Thank you.
Rutland Radio.
Rob Bryan.
John Russell.
And how many are actually in your team doing this walk?
There are 2 people who are walking the whole 297 miles. We've got somewhere between 250 and 300 people who are joining the walk at some stage during its duration when we finish on the 29th of July.
That's quite a number, isn't it, considering you're doing it over 23 days?
It is. What we have done is try to identify certain days when we can bring together large groups, large communities. I hail from a village in North Oxfordshire called Shennington, and we're having a village walking day there next Sunday, and there'll be over 100 people walking. BPE, the law firm that I'm a partner in and John works in, we are having a BPE walking day, walking through the Cotswolds the following Saturday, and again there'll probably be somewhere between a further 100 150. And then there are other people coming out to join us from different communities throughout the walk.
Now, you've done your Stamford section today, and it's Rutland on Tuesday.
That's correct, and we'll be on to Oakham. We're trying to make up time if we can. We're doing about 14 miles a day on average.
So the Macmillan Way is a great partner for the charity you're raising funds for, but where does that run to and from?
It starts in Boston, it ends in Abbotsbury or Chesil Beach in Dorset, so it's coast to coast, but with a difference.
And you're both doing it for very personal reasons, aren't you?
Yes. My mother sadly died of cancer just over 2 years ago. She had a wonderful Macmillan nurse, a lady called Emma Carroll, who is actually going to join us for the last few days of the walk. And without wanting to get overly political about this matter, I think it's a crying shame that the NHS does not pay for the training and employment costs of Macmillan nurses in their first year of employment. So the dream is to be able to fund an additional Macmillan nurse in each region of the UK. They are highly skilled people, and of course there's a cost that goes with that. So what we are trying to do through BPE is to fundraise for 2 new additional Macmillan nurses, the cost being £54,000 each. That's why we're trying to raise £108,000.
Now tell us about your itinerary for Tuesday then.
We anticipate leaving Empingham at 8:30. We'll then be passing through Whitwell and then walking along the banks of Rutland Water, arriving in Oakham approximately 1 o'clock, so the intention is to have some lunch in Oakham and then start to head south. So we'll be heading through Brook and then down to Belton.
People can obviously donate as they see you, but they can donate online as well.
They can, and it's a way in which listeners can find out more about the walk if they visit macmillanwalk.uk. That's not .co.uk, just macmillanwalk.uk.
Great, thanks very much for joining us, and very best of luck with your walk. So Stamford and Rutland, whereabouts do they fit in the 23 days of the walk? How far through are you?
We are on day 3. So we walked from Boston to a place called Surfleet on day 1. We've walked through Stamford today. We stayed overnight in Stamford and then went back several miles towards Catesbridge and walked in from there today.
Rutland Radio's Best Bits on the podcast.
My name's Pam Dolby and I'm chair of Uppingham in Bloom.
And does it get harder and harder each year actually to find new things actually to not only make the town, show the town off, but also to impress the judges?
Yes, obviously we have to try and improve on the Gold Award from last year. It's all about points, so points mean prizes at the end of the day, so we do have to come up with new projects through the year, and obviously the community involvement, which we've done really well this year, and we've had Duke of Edinburgh Award students working with us. We've worked with the Rotary and the WI, but our big project for this year is the Uppingham Tree Trail, so we're launching that actually today. We've got all the artwork and the leaflets are available just from today, so it's a tree trail around Uppingham just to complement the heritage trail, but it's looking at all the historical trees throughout the town, plus also we're in the process of planting a disseminated community orchard, so there'll be fruit trees all around the town that people will be able to access, take the fruit from and do as they wish. So it's just really to highlight all the fantastic trees around the town, and obviously looking at the beauty of the town as they go round. So yes, lots of projects ongoing, but we've also had our open gardens this year, so we've just last weekend we had our open gardens, so that was another big task to get up and running. And so yes, we are always trying to find new projects and new planting areas to impress the judges.
And the World War I project continues as well, I know.
Yes, we've had 9 new poppies this year. So we've got willow poppies being made by a local person that signify a soldier fallen in the Great War from Uppingham. So we've got 26 in total at the moment. More to come next year, sadly, but we are commemorating them with a willow poppy, and that's in the bed round on North Street East, opposite the chip shop. So we've got the crosses out as well, commemorating each soldier this morning, and we've got the poppies decorating the bed as well. They're knitted by the WI, so making a big fuss of it. Also got the World War I planting area down at the roundabout as you come into the town, which is always a lovely feature. So, yes.
Now, have you created a hedge recently around there, kind of like a bordering hedge around the roundabout, or is that something that's been there for ages and I haven't even noticed?
It was a design that went in a few years ago, probably about 3 years ago now. Initially, it was a part of a big design that they wanted to do in the centre of the roundabout, and it took probably about 4 years to get through planning. And then, unfortunately, the guy that did the design and was looking after the plot was no longer working for Smithers Purslow, so it's sort of fallen into a little disrepair. So they're now getting it back up and running with their own gardeners tending to it, but it's not the best design. So it's something for the future that may be looked at again. But it was supposed to have a big obelisk in the centre and all sorts. But say that design went by the by, so it may well be looked at in the future. But the Smithers Purslow are still looking after it for the time being.
Rutland Radio.
I'm Rob Fisher. I'm the gardens manager at Uppingham School.
Now, as well as the school itself, you tend to a lot of the town. Tell us what new areas to look out for this year.
Well, one of the new areas we've done this year, we've redeveloped the front of one of our boys' boarding houses, a lawn house, which was thoroughly derelict. It was an in-and-out car park full of old, tired shrubs. It's now had a full re-landscape, partly by contractors who've done all the hard paving landscaping, and then the gardens department went and did all the soft landscaping. I had to go to Italy, which was a chore, Rob, I must say.
I can imagine it would be for me as well.
It was a tough job, but somebody had to do it, and I was chosen, obviously, to go and select some of the plants, some of the larger sort of hornbeams and topiary that you see in this garden. It's fully on view to the public as they walk up the high street towards our new science centre. We've had some great comments from members of the public. The alliums, in particular, a new variety called Universal, really well liked by the public this year. And for a first-year garden, it's stunning, if I say so myself. Feathering the cap to the Gardens Department and the school for funding it.
The weekly Rutland Radio podcast.
Peter Benham, East Midlands in Bloom Judge.
Stephen Dando, East Midlands in Bloom Judge.
Now, both Oakham and Uppingham in Rutland, our two towns, actually do enter in Bloom, but they're both in different categories. They don't compete against each other, do they?
No, they don't. We split our categories up into population size, so you'd find that Uppingham is in the small town one.
Do you actually go kind of far and wide, actually judging different towns over a number of weeks?
We cover over 2 weeks. We go within the East Midlands.
And is this your first time judging Uppingham?
It is, yes. We've had a good tour around so far, and we've still got more to see, I understand.
So what's the most crucial part of what you're looking for?
We're looking for something that is attractive, but we're also looking for community involvement with the businesses and other enterprises involved. So we're looking for the whole thing.
So it's the town getting behind it that's as important as actually what's there?
Yes, it is. People would think it's just about the flowers. It's not. It's about the community development. That's the key thing.
And when do Uppingham find out how successful they've been in the East Midlands competition?
They'll find out in September. They have to wait till then. We've got a presentation in Boston, in Lincolnshire. We judge Lincolnshire as well, so we're going there for the day and all will be revealed.
Rutland Radio.
It's Rutland Radio, just looking out over Stamford School's magnificent cricket field. I'm here with Dean Headley, looking forward to another sport bash in just a couple of weeks' time. Now, Dean, this year you've made it free entry, which sounds on the face of it like you're giving the whole lot away, but I know you're doing it for a good reason.
Yeah, we just want more and more people to come down to the event. I mean, it's now the third year of BGL Sport Bash, and we just want people to come on site, enjoy the cricket. We've got Battle of Britain fly past again. That's coming over at precisely 350. We've got parachute display team from UK parachuting out of Sibson Airport, so they'll be jumping in the interval of the cricket. And I've just got confirmation today that Peterborough United are going to be bringing down some of their fun inflatables for people to get on, and I think their mascot's coming, and we're waiting to know which few players are going to come along to just meet the crowd.
And you've got the teams all put together ready for this?
Sort of.
Who are people likely to see?
We've got Andy Caddick's coming back. We've got Danny Cipriani. Got John Solarco, the footballer. He says he can play cricket. I don't know whether he can. He used to play for the Westram Cricket Club, so I know his brothers, and they all play cricket, so he's got to be able to play. And then the usual crowd: Adam Hollyoake, Usman Afzal, Owesh Shah. So again, a good standard of player. But as you know, the game is played in good spirit. And it's more about also giving some cricketers that are local a day out as well. So going through the local legends side at the moment.
Which generally one from each kind of local team, isn't it?
Yeah, we can, and we also generally pick the first team captain. So Jacob Turp, he'll be playing. We've got Jason, who's Jason Grosh, who's one of our groundsmen here, so he's playing. So it's just a way of rewarding people for their services to cricket, really. And
you're fundraising again for the Matt Hampson Foundation, which I know the school is doing. In fact, we're speaking to you today as the majority of the school are actually on a huge sponsored walk at Rutland Water. They are. Obviously, the unfortunate situation with George and Seb. The foundation supports both of those boys, and I think it's actually brought the schools together a lot more, and there's a huge sense of community at the school. And I know the two boys are doing very well. I had Seb on the cricket field the other day, and George is expecting, I think, to get 3 A's in his A levels, and he'll probably shout at me saying he's probably getting an A star. So and he's off to university, I know, very soon.
Yeah. So they're both boys inspiration, because they just get busy living, as Matt Hampson's foundation motto is. And I know from the Matt Hampson side, obviously he's got his new centre, which is being built at the moment, so that's the core of his fundraising. But as you say, the Matt Hampson Foundation is very much a big fundraising partner of the school this year. It is, and the foundation, Rob, is the centre that they're building. You talk to everybody who gets help by them. It's not just the money, it's the support. You meet people who have been a year into it, 5 years into coping, 10 years into coping, 20 years into coping, and then when something happens to you, you need that light at the end of the tunnel to realise that actually when people say it's going to be okay, you can see that it has been okay. So I think the emotional support given by the foundation and this centre is just going to take them to another level of help. So that's the BGL Sport Bash on Friday the 21st of July. What time do things get underway on the day? 11:30 we've got the BGL Group Cricket Cup. We've invited under 9s this year, so hopefully it won't be so competitive, but it'll be a lot more fun. We've got the cricket starting at 4 o'clock, but there's lots of activities on, and if you go to the website BGL sportbash.co.uk, and there's more information about what activities are paid for and what activities are free. But free to get in the ground. It's free entry, but no alcohol, no food brought on site. Excellent, Ian Hadley. Thanks for joining us on Rutland Radio as always. No, thanks for coming down.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio Podcast.
So we're here at the floats on the Wreck. I'm here with Alex Ismay, who's Vice Chairman of Stamford Pantomime Players. Now, You always put an entertaining float in, and you've actually got something to promote just very, very soon.
We do, yes. We're performing Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat. It's our youth performance, so it's all 8 to 18-year-olds. It's our younger cast members, and it's to give them a chance and to train them in the arts.
Is there actually a panto version of Joseph, then?
This is the youth version of it. It's like the school's version of it. So it's very similar to the West End performance, but obviously it's tamed down for children.
And the great thing is, obviously, there's so much of the soundtrack that people know.
Oh yes, there's some fantastic songs. There's some dancey songs, there's some slow songs. There's a bit of everything. There's a wide variety of the singing, and it's a sung performance. There's very little talking, if any.
Excellent stuff. So how do people get tickets, and when's it on, and how much?
The summer show, it is on the 7th and 8th of July at 7 p.m, and on the 8th of July, which is the Saturday, it's also on at 2 o'clock. All tickets are £5, which makes it easier, so we don't have any concessionary rates and expensive rates. All tickets are £5, which is to reflect the fact that we put this on as a training scheme to train the children in the arts. All tickets £5, 7 o'clock on the 7th, 2 o'clock and 7 o'clock on the 8th of July at Stamford Corn Exchange Theatre, and the tickets are available from the box office at the Corn Exchange Theatre on Broad Street.
Rutland Radio.
So Nigel Rose, Chief Executive of Hope Against Cancer.
And we're here at the charity party in Rutland. Ralph Bansal is about to speak, and I know also you're hearing research as well about turmeric. There's a bit of kind of, which way to pronounce it between Rav and Dr. Lynn as well.
Yes, indeed. I say turmeric, Rob. And a very interesting link. They've baked some turmeric flapjacks, and we are doing some research, some cancer research over at the University of Leicester that looks at the positive benefits of turmeric, or more accurately curcumin, which is a derivative of it, on helping bowel cancer patients. So very important, and those studies may help us develop some turmeric-based treatments.
And as we've spoken before on the show about Hope Against Cancer, actually having a cancer research charity just for Leicestershire and Rutland does have its benefits for people here.
Absolutely true, Rob. Not every region has a local cancer research charity, and we were founded over 13 years ago purely because cancer survival rates in this region were so poor, some of the worst in Western Europe, and we set about changing that. So over the years we've managed, with the help of people of Leicestershire and Rutland, to raise about £6 million now, funded 60 different research projects that have improved treatments into many forms of cancer.
And these charity parties you're doing throughout the week across Leicestershire and Rutland?
Yes, well, it's our annual Bold and Blue Week, as you know, and you've supported us for years in doing this. But we thought we'd coalesce around an idea this year. So we're encouraging people to get an application pack from us, go to our website, just organise their own charity party during any time this week, raise money for Hope Against Cancer and positive benefits of tea. And I'm not sure everybody will bake turmeric flapjack, but everyone likes a tea party, don't they?
And your guest here, Rav from Bake Off as well. It's nice always to have, some support from a recognisable figure like that.
Absolutely, and I've just been talking to him. He's a lovely chap, very involved in lots of different charitable work, and he used the Bake Off, I think, to try and advance that, knowledge of charities. He's a very nice man, and nice to have him here. And I'm sure everyone's going to enjoy his talk about his journey through the Great British Bake Off.
Nigel Rose of Hope Against Cancer, thanks for joining us on Rutland Radio today.
That's brilliant. Thanks for your support, Rob. Cheers.
Rutland Radio's best bits on the podcast.
Dr. Dan Petrie joins us on the line this morning. Now, this is something I know you've been working a lot with and believe a lot in, really. I suppose it's mind, body and soul together.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, it's something I'm passionate about. I've been living in Stamford for 12 years, but working here as a GP for the last 2. And I just feel that I was in the right place to try and give something back to the community. And so we set up initially the Stamford Mental Health Forum, and now it's become Mindspace. And we're trying to just promote a whole community well-being project type thing, really, just to try and get everybody being more open, trying to break down the stigma about mental health, but also trying to provide some events where we can actually support people with mental health issues. We run a drop-in cafe, for instance, a couple of times a month, just a safe, non-judgmental space where you can just come and just be as open as you want to about your issues or not, depending on where you're at. We run a walking group as well. But what today's meetings are about really are just we're at the next stage of, I think, getting bigger than, in effect, just me and a few other people. And we're hoping to get some people who are also passionate about it and volunteers coming forward to take things forward, because we've got lots of ideas about what we want to do. but we need more help really to make it happen and to make that vision come true.
We often hear about the statistic, don't we? The 1 in 4 people that admit to having a mental health issue, I suppose. Whether problem, I mean, they're obviously, aware of it. There are so many treatments available, from relaxation to complementary therapies to going down the medical route. But mind space, I suppose, does sum it up, really. It's giving your mind some space to actually, just breathe for a second sometimes.
Indeed. I mean, I think ultimately, in the same way we all have physical health, and we all know that going to the gym and eating well is good for your physical health, your mental health needs looking after too. And there's lots of things, low-level stuff that you can just do yourself, but actually we struggle to find time to do those in our modern life with, busy lives, jobs, kids, all those sorts of things. But actually, we're just trying to promote opportunities for that to happen, but also, if people are sort of starting to actually become unwell with it, maybe even some of the sort of lower level help and support that they might need. Often people don't, loneliness is a big problem and social isolation. So we're just trying to provide places where people can go and talk and offload some of their worries and concerns as well.
So today at the Shack, which is that building on Stamford Rec, just off Recreation Ground Road, 12 till 2 and 7 till 9 tonight as well. So lunchtime and evening chance to meet with you and other like-minded people, just really to have some space to share ideas.
Share ideas and, awesome.
Dr. Dan Petrie, thanks for joining us
Cheers,
on
Rob.
Rutland Radio this morning.
Thank you.
That's Mindspace Stamford, meetings today too, and 7 till 9 tonight as well. So lunchtime and evening chance to meet with you and other like-minded people, just really to have some space to share ideas.
Share ideas and, awesome.
Dr. Dan Petrie, thanks for joining us
Cheers,
on
Rob.
Rutland Radio this morning.
Thank you.
That's Mindspace Stamford, meetings today.
Rutland Radio.
Yeah, Lee Pearce, and I'm a warrant officer in Royal Anglian.
Now, this is obviously a special time for the Royal Anglians as they get ready to depart for Cyprus. You're not actually leaving Kosovo, though?
No, I'm not. No, I'm staying here as a divisional warrant officer, so I remain here and look after all the regiments within the division and their aspects of all recruiting, so looking forward to it.
Now, First Responders in Rutland obviously is a community partnership with the military, and you actually set up the military side of it, and you're continuing that.
Yeah, I did, yeah. It's been running since, exactly 2 years this month. It's going really well.
So do you actually go out to the whole county just as those actually back in, outside the base do, outside the barracks?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. So we log on from here in barracks. They then pre-position us somewhere within the counties, and then we're dispatched to 999 calls wherever that takes us. So up to now, I think we've done about 3,000 calls now of 999 calls over the 2 years.
Now, you were presented with MSM, I'm guessing that's Military Service Medal.
It's Meritorious Service Medal, yeah.
Yeah. And tell us about, the recognition that you've got. I mean, it's partly through the responders, isn't it?
It is, yeah. A lot due to the responders. Obviously, they put me up for this award, and so it's got a lot to do with it. And obviously, I've achieved that over 20 years of service, so it's good. It's a fantastic result.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio Podcast.
So, as you've probably heard, Battle Proms is back at Burley House this Saturday. I'm here with Adam Slough, who, together with his dad, set the whole thing up 20 years ago. I bet you can't believe that yourself, can you?
I can't believe that, no. It's quite hard to believe, really. Obviously makes me 20 years older than I was then. I don't really feel that much older.
So, where did the idea of Battle Proms come from, then?
Well, the idea came out of necessity to try and make use of 200 guns that we had put together for another promoter who was doing a bit of music in their concert that they were putting on in the early 90s. It was the Midland Symphony Orchestra, and they wanted to perform Beethoven's Battle Symphony, the Wellington's Victory, of course, which has 193 cannon fire in it. So we rose to that task at that time, but then that promoter moved on and did other things, and we were stuck with these guns, and really quite hard to hire out something of that nature. So we had to generate our own work for it, basically.
So Battle Proms was born. It came to Burley a few years later. Where was your first concert then?
So the first concert was at Battle Abbey. Now, there's no link really with the name, but people obviously thought there was originally. So Battle Abbey is the English heritage site, amazing, on the actual battlefield there. And we were there in 97 and 98, and that's where we were born, really. But we quickly moved away from that site and developed and became more into the middle of the country. And we had an amazing venue, Stowe Landscape Gardens, which we were at for many years. And then Burley came along in 2005, so we're on our 13th Burley prom here, yeah.
Describe, for anyone who's never been to this, I mean, the proms is a really important part of it, but it's not where it all starts.
No, that's right. You've got, you take the classical music, we use an absolutely superb orchestra. They've been with us, really, many of them have played with us since we started and have really honed their craft on our events. So you take superb music, but then because you've got this setting, you've got this blank canvas almost to build your own arena, your own setup, and we just take advantage of the site. We've got the most incredible sort of vistas that lend themselves to fireworks, but also to the battle symphony with the 200 guns, and also on the other side we've got a whole massive area that we fill full of cavalry, and this year behind the cavalry we've found another bit of space, so we need to fill it. So we've decided to have the Red Devils falling out the sky and landing on that particular bit of grass. As a lovely prelude, an hour before, of course, we have Carolyn Grace Spitfire come over the top and look down on us and really make our spines sort of tingle, really.
I was about to say that, actually. Just saying it actually does kind of evoke that, doesn't it, for so many people?
It really does, and people who've never seen it before don't quite realise. So you see the Spitfire coming over and hear, and it really is about that. It's very much, half of it is the noise that it makes. That Rolls-Royce engine, the Merlin engine, is just incredible, and it just, and the music this year is my favourite for it. Actually, it's Holst Jupiter, which has got I Vow to Thee My Country in it, which is just, with the Spitfire coming over, this incredible setting. It's just brilliant. It's a great start to our season. This is our first one of our 20th anniversary season, and we love it. We really do love Burley.
People listening to this thinking, I bet all the tickets have gone for this. Have they?
No, we've got some more areas opened up. Actually, it's going to be really popular because it's our 20th year, but we've still got tickets. It's certainly booked tomorrow, by Saturday morning. You can book online right up until the gate, actually. So there should still be tickets available on Saturday, yeah.
And, as you walk around this site, you're staying on this site for days before, you're building this bit by bit. When the people actually start coming in, you must have a real kind of sense of accomplishment.
It's a great moment when we open the doors. Well, we say doors. We open the crowd barriers, and in they pour, and they really do. They're set on getting their spot, and suddenly it's the people. Really, that's the point. Actually, it's the people that create the vibe of this event, and they come every year, and we have new people every year, and they really always comment on how it's the people that provide the incredible atmosphere. So we're really lucky to have our loyal battle prommers and new people to come and make the crowd so superb.
And you've had people who've had a wedding reception here before, people who just have parties with people that come back year after year.
Yeah, we have. We've had several. I think we've had 6 or 7 weddings over the years, maybe more actually, and anniversaries, and actually quite a lot of businesses have now their summer party as well as their Christmas party. They have their summer parties, and we're really good for that because we put a great marquee up at the back, and it's perfect. It's really good.
And Pam Rhodes brings it all together. I mean, who doesn't know Pam Rhodes from TV?
Exactly. She is the linchpin to the whole thing, really, the whole slickness of the event, and she really brings it together. She's so, she makes everyone feel part of it and makes sure she talks to everyone, and we love Pam. She's amazing.
Adam Slough, thanks for joining us on Rutland Radio. We'll see you on Saturday here at Burley.
Thank you.
Rutland Radio.
My name's Lieutenant Colonel Bruce Weston. I'm the commanding officer of the 2nd Battalion, the Royal Anglian Regiment, the Poachers.
And we just witnessed the final parade here at Kendrew Barracks at Cottesmore before you head off to Cyprus in just a few months. Tell us the reason for today's parade. No, that's fine. That's okay. Tell us. Well, it's a dual reason, I suppose, in a way. in terms of the commemoration of the battle and also the fact that this is your effective passing out parade.
So all regiments, in particular infantry battalions, have regimental days, and the Battle of Talavera is our key regimental day for the poachers of the year. So we've decided to combine both our regimental day. We've had to bring it forward slightly because we're also moving to Cyprus after having been here for 5 years. So we really wanted to mark our departure from the UK after having had 5 very happy years here in Rutland before we move on to Cyprus.
You are returning as well in a couple of years?
Yes, we are. So the current plan is we move to Cyprus for 2 years and we return here back to Cottesmore in 2 years' time, in 2019.
And hearing some of the calls on the parade, I mean, there's all our neighbouring counties actually have company in the regiment.
Yes, they do. It's a uniqueness about the Royal Anglian Regiment. So, for example, the 2nd Battalion, we have A, Lincolnshire Company, B, Leicestershire Company, C, Northamptonshire and Rutland Company, and D, Bedfordshire and Hertfordshire Company.
And tell us briefly the history of how the Talavera battle is actually so important. It was the Northamptonshire Regiment that were part of that.
Yes, it was. It was a specific, unique feat in a battle in the Peninsular Wars, and it is such a prestigious honour that we were awarded at the end of the battle that it has carried through all the way through the Northamptonshire Regiment into the modern embodiment of the Northamptonshire Regiment, which is us today.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio Podcast.
So who have I got with me at the moment?
You have Rob Bryan.
And John Russell.
And you are doing a charity walk, aren't you?
We are walking the Macmillan Way Challenge, and we began in Boston on Saturday morning, and we're now in Oakham on day 4 of our walk, heading to Dorset.
So how's it been so far?
It's been excellent, actually. The feet and the other limbs have been surprisingly painless. I'm sure it won't continue forever, but everybody's been extremely welcoming, particularly in Rutland.
And has anything happened along the way on your route?
Well, there have been a few stories of interest. I think the one that was perhaps most amusing was there is a company called Elm of Burford in Oxfordshire who have provided with me with an Akubra Australian bushman's hat. And on day 1, we were walking across the River Welland, and a juggernaut came past us, and it blew into the river. And John and my son James were complete heroes, and they went charging down the riverbanks, and John managed to retrieve the hat out of the water, and so it soon dried out, and carried on using it. And then separately this morning, a huge thanks to all of the listeners on Rutland Radio. We were standing outside the White Horse in Empingham, about to begin our day's walk. We're planning to walk down to certainly Belton in Rutland and possibly as far as Hallerton in Leicestershire today. And a lady drove past, and if you're out there listening, huge thanks, wound her window down or pressed the button and proffered £10 to us and said, "You must be the Macmillan Walkers," which of course we are.
That's fantastic. Oh, that's really lovely. So how much money have you raised so far?
We've raised in total £14,000. My law firm, BPE, has been coordinating all of this, and we're trying to raise £108,000. If any listeners do wish to contribute, they can simply text BPE Walk to 70550, and that will enable a £5 donation to be made. If as many people as possible could do that, that will be hugely appreciated.
Perfect. Thank you very much for popping in, guys, and good luck with the rest of your walk.
Thank you.
Thank you. The weekly Rutland Radio Podcast.
Fantastic win for Oundle tonight. Absolutely superb. How are you feeling now?
Yeah, delighted, obviously. It was nice to get to the finals after last year losing to Nassington, so good to get one over on them.
Yes, of course, you beat Nassington in the semi-final. Everyone saw that as a superb game. And in the final, you pulverised Bourne Town, didn't you? Absolutely superb performance.
I think so. That's the nature of sixes. It's a bit of a lottery at the end of the day. It only takes one person to come off on the night, and luckily our players performed. So, yeah, great performance.
And how have you found it so far here at the Burley Sixes? Of course, last year you were debutants, you're back again this year, and you performed well last year. Unfortunately, as you said, you lost to Nassington, but this year you were superb. But generally, do you enjoy the Sixes?
Yeah, it's a fantastic event. It's nice to get away from the 50-over stuff in the leagues games. We had a disappointing loss in the week against Peterborough, so it's nice to come out and enjoy the cricket. So, yeah, it's a great event.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, Oundle captain. Perfect. I'm going to speak to Harrison Craig, actually, as well, if he's around. Harrison, do you mind just 2 minutes? Harrison, well done tonight. You were the player of the tournament and you played extremely well. It must have been great for you to have got the semi-final win over Nassington. You must have enjoyed that.
Yeah, I mean, it was bittersweet. Of course, I played for the club for about 5 years and I still do now. So I enjoyed the win, getting to the final, but it was quite sad at the same time as well.
Yeah. How did it feel playing against your brother? Because I know you play with him not only at club level, but you've played with him at minor counties level as well. So playing against him, did you enjoy it? I guess you must have enjoyed getting one over on him.
It was nice. I mean, we share in the same car home, so it's going to be a bit awkward, but yeah, no, playing against him finally, it's a nice thing to do, I guess. Yeah. Who knows if I'll do it again.
Yeah. Nice one, and you played superbly well all week. Did you enjoy yourself here? I know it's a strange form of cricket, really. It's not time cricket, it's not limited overs cricket. It's 5 overs cricket. It's a short form of the game, but it's good fun. The crowds are all out. It's a good week's entertainment, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely good fun. I mean, there's got to be over 1,000 people here today, so I mean, it's a great tournament, great atmosphere, and it's just a good laugh. And I mean, it's just good fun with a bunch of mates.
Yeah. Nice one. Fantastic. Well played this week. You're the player of the tournament, and Oundle Town, the winners of the 2017 Burley Sixes. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's it for this week's Rutland Radio podcast. If you have any comments, you can email us via the website, rutlandradio.co.uk, and we'll have a new version on our website from Monday.
This is a download from Rutland Radio. For more information, go to rutlandradio.co.uk.